Hello everybody, how is it going? I am Lucas and today we are going to be looking at an album from the legendary metal band As I Lay Dying called Shaped by Fire. Before I forget this, let me get this out the way really quick. So the entire album was mixed by Joe McQueen and it was mastered by Ted Jensen, all except My Own Grave, which was mixed by Nolly Gitgood, formerly of Periphery, and mastered by Erman out of Australia. So without further ado, let's jump into this album. The last time we heard from these guys was in 2012 when they released Awakened, but between Awakened and Shaped by Fire, a lot of stuff has going down. So for a quick recap, Tim Lambesis, the lead singer of As I Lay Dying, was going through a divorce and he thought it would be a good idea to hire a hitman to assassinate his estranged wife, Megan Lambesis. But in trying to hire a hitman for $50,000, he ended up hiring a cop. Oops. He then went to jail. He was sentenced to 6 years. He didn't serve all of his sentence. He served a reduced sentence, but he served his time. He got out of jail, and then he slowly started contacting the members of the band. They eventually posted a video about this online. Look it up if you want to watch it. It's very emotional. The audio one isn't the best in the world, but they go into detail of how they got back together and how he reunited. I think it was the hardest for Nick, the guitar player, because he was very mad at Tim about everything that happened. But they eventually all reconciled and got back together. A lot of people are kind of still mad at Tim for what he did, which is understandable because for what he did was very bad. It was very nasty of him to try and assassinate his own wife. From everything that I have seen, from all the videos he's put out, from the fact that the band actually got back together, which I think a lot of people didn't think that was going to happen. Tim seems to be a changed person. He's doing all the right things. He's doing stuff with inmates. He released a video talking about his mental health, how he's managing it going forward. He actually did get remarried like pretty much as soon as he got out of jail, which I guess is a good thing. And I'm going to compare Tim to another person who kind of went through a rise, a sharp fall, and had their own redemption arc. Michael Vick. Michael Vick used to be the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Then he got arrested for dogfighting, and he went to jail. He served his time for it. He got out. He had some help, though. He had some help from Tony Dungy and a lot of other people. He rehabilitated himself. Once again, a lot of people looked down on him for what he did because it was very, he did dogfighting. He grew up doing it and he thought it was okay. He got out, he rehabilitated himself, he took all the right steps. He actually played a few more years in the NFL until he eventually retired. And both with Mike and with Tim's situations, if the justice system thought that the crime that they did, if the penalty that they gave him and they served, if they thought that they paid their debt to society and they got out, then why shouldn't everyone else give him at least a benefit of the doubt when it comes to him rehabilitating himself? My biggest question with it is has he repaired his relationship with his kids? Going through a divorce is hard enough on kids, but when you find out your own dad tried to assassinate your mom, can be kind of really heavy stuff. But like I said before, from everything that I have seen, from everything that he has done, he seems to be a much better person and he seems to have had a successful redemption arc. So with all of that in mind, let's dive into the album. The overall theme of the album is pretty much of Tim's redemption. And it pretty much started when they released the first single, My Own Grave. That was a reworked older song, I think, that they built up and kind of made their own thing in 2018. They released that in June of last year. When that song came out, man, did that song slam. It sounded good. It went super hard. I have to check, it has 12 million views on YouTube, which that's insanely good because that was the first stuff that they had put out since Tim had went into jail. Once Tim went into jail, the rest of the band, they formed another band called Woven War, which to a lot of hardcore As I Lay Dying fans, they hated Woven War. I liked their first album. Second album was meh. But Woven War just wasn't really the same thing as I Lay Dying. Sorry about that. Getting back to this album, a lot of the songs you have like Undertow, My Own Grave, Gatekeeper. The titles of the songs and the meanings of the songs are kind of like Tim, realizing he was a piece of shit and rebuilding himself, and it's all about like forgiveness and redemption and admitting your mistakes and all that other good stuff. A lot of the songs are kind of themed around that, but the content of it doesn't get tiring throughout the entire album. My favorite song on this album has to be Gatekeeper. Holy hell, it goes so hard. It's the hardest song on the album. It slams you in the face. And what's really nice is right before the guitar solo, they have an HM2 part on the guitar. And the HM2 is a super famous Boss pedal. It has this chainsaw type tone. I did a little video and I'll put it up top so you want to check it out and see exactly what HM2 is. But man, does it slam so hard. That song sounds so good. Another one of my favorite ones is Undertow. That one is just fantastic. This album is full of your foundation of what makes As I Lay Dying great. You have nice clean vocals, you have some screams, you have some metal rhythms, you have some nice good double bass guitar. They have that pause that they like to put every now and then for effect. I think more bands should do that because it adds a lot to the actual song. Production on this album is great. It sounds so great and good. The vocals are clear, nothing's fighting each other, it doesn't sound muddy. The guitars sound great. Everything here pretty much sounds great. I saw one comment saying that they didn't exactly like the snare, but if the snare is the only thing that's wrong with the album, that's a good thing, because a lot of other albums have great snares, but everything else doesn't exactly work. One of the songs on here, My Grave, like I said before, that one is completely different from the rest of the songs, but it still blends in and it doesn't sound too much out of place considering it was done by different people, mixing, mastering wise. And I know a lot of the long time As I Lay Dying fans thought they would never see this album again. They pretty much thought the band was dead once Tim went to jail, but it amazes me that they can put out an album this good considering they've had such a tumultuous 7 years since they put out their last album. I mean, we have bands that have been together for 25 plus years. They haven't had as much drama as I Lay Dying, and they still can't put out as good of albums as them even after reuniting. So, what would I rate this album? Let's see, it has great production, the songs are good, it has ripping solos. I can't really find anything wrong with it. I'm gonna have to give it 5 Hitmans out of 5. It is a fantastic album. I'm so glad that the 2000s metalcore is back and alive in 2019, because think about it, we got a Unearthed album at the end of 2018, we got a new Killswitch Engage album, and we got a new As I Lay Dying album. The 2000s metalcore scene is alive in 2019 and it is great. But enough about me and my ramblings. What about you and your opinions on this album? Do you think it's great? Let me know in the comments down below. It's me, can have to be out. Peace.